It's been a nice, long year for anime. You see, this ongoing season's one blockbuster of a season, but don't you notice something about it? The season is full of sequels. You have third and fourth seasons of popular series, and while these may be a treat for longtime fans, it begs the question, is there anything in store for newcomers who don't want to go through previous seasons of established series? Have no fear, in this edition of ViniiTube Lists, we'll take a look at some of the top upcoming anime that aren't sequels. Without further ado, let's get going and take a look at some promising shows set to be released in 2020 and beyond. We start with So I'm a Spider, So What? If you think the isekai train's about to stop anytime soon, you're gravely mistaken. As of right now, we're looking at more on the way. For now, we focus on the first of many isekai series to come. So I'm a Spider, So What? You know the isekai drill. The culprit this time, the battle between the hero and the demon king in another world exploding a classroom. Our protagonist then finds herself reincarnated as a spider. Yikes! What new adventures and challenges await her in this second life? I haven't read much of the series, but from what I saw in the manga, it's enjoyable. I personally think that the humor's great, and from what the fanbase has said, a lot of cool twists are to come. Can't wait to see how everything will play out in the anime adaptation. There's no airing date yet, but you know it's only a matter of time before we find it inserted somewhere as the mandatory seasonal isekai series. In ninth place, we have In Spectre. For those craving supernatural mysteries, wait no more. From the original creator of Blast of Tempest comes this new anime series. In Spectre tells the story of two intertwined individuals. On one hand is Kotoko, a girl abducted by yokai in order to serve as a mediator between the spirit and human world, and on the other is Kuro, a 22-year-old university student who broke up with his girlfriend after an encounter with a kappa. After this incident, Kotoko makes her move, wanting to get closer and eventually marry this interesting student. The two work together to solve supernatural issues. However, Kotoko soon realizes that this seemingly ordinary student is more than he seems. In Spectre comes your way this January. Next is the much-awaited anime adaptation of Noblesse. Noblesse follows a noble called Rai. Going to a deep slumber and waking up centuries later may not be the easiest thing to do, but that's exactly what Rai does. Waking up to a completely different future, he enrolls in a local high school with his companion Frankenstein. Together, the duo and some high school friends begin the quest to uncover the noble's forgotten past. It didn't take long for Noblesse to be one of the most popular webcomic series in Korea. Admittedly, Noblesse getting a full-blown Japanese anime adaptation is a surprise, considering that the series already appeared as one-shot videos a couple of years back. Guess the demand's high for such an amazing series. We don't know the release window yet, but we should have more information in coming months. Think Noblesse is the only webcomic adaptation to be featured on this list? Well, we have another one coming in a short while. Up next on the list, we take a look at Darwin's Game. Sudo Kaname is your typical stock high school student protagonist. He gets invited to try a new mobile game called Darwin's Game. Despite knowing that the friend who invited him to try the game's gone missing, our protagonist takes the plunge and finds himself gifted with powers. Turns out Darwin's Game's actually Battle Royale, where everyone gets powers they have to fully utilize in order to survive and unravel the mysteries of the game. Sounds like Batum if you ask me. That or maybe Apex Legends and Fortnite. Either way, it looks like an enjoyable anime. The manga's been entertaining, so I'd love to see what the anime team can do for this one. Survival of the fittest taken to a literal twist, eh? This is a series to look out for in 2020. Almost at the halfway mark, we're graced with another isekai title. This time, it's Mushoku Tensei. I've known about this one for a while, so it came as a pleasant surprise to know that Mushoku Tensei is finally getting an anime adaptation. Truckun's at it again, this time sending a 34-year-old NEET to a world of swords and magic, reincarnated as Rudius Greyrat. Retaining the mind of an adult as well as a surplus of magical powers, Rudius is a genius in the making. However, old habits die hard and Rudius retains his mind of being a pervert, using his knowledge to make moves on women in this new life. Before you raise the pitchforks, let me tell you something. Mushoku Tensei is one of the better isekai novels out there. The world may seem ordinary, but as someone who's read the novels, the world building's amazing. The main character starts off annoying and obnoxious, but he steadily grows and discards those traits. It might surprise many given the reputation of isekai shows, but character development's actually one of the strongest points of Mushoku Tensei. Whether all that translates well into anime is for us to see. Mushoku Tensei airs next year. Popular horror title Uzumaki finally gets an anime after multiple adaptations across media. Strange happenings take place in Kurozu-cho, such as suicide, people transforming into snails, and other oddities. Turns out that the town's been afflicted by a curse involving spirals, and the two lovers look to find a way to escape the cursed town. The madness begins and the whole town soon spirals into utter chaos. Looks like our protagonist will have a challenge getting to the bottom of this. Short and sweet, Uzumaki's a story that will leave you on the edge of your seats. It's truly a testament to the legacy of the series to have so many adaptations, and we can finally see how an anime adaptation will measure up against the rest. We don't have to wait for long though for the anime, because 2020 is a corner away and it will grace us with the masterpiece of a horror anime.
あのでかい二人は多分私たちを殺しに来た掃除屋だ。
Black comedy, a post-apocalyptic world, and insane fun. Those words describe Dorohedoro for me. Set in the hole where sorcerers experiment with their magic, Dorohedoro tells the story of Kaiman. An unfortunate victim of magic that leaves him with the head of a Kaiman and no memory of his former life, Kaiman goes on a search for his real identity. Of course, his methods aren't quite ethical. With a batshit insane cast, Dorohedoro looks to be one hell of a ride, especially for Western fans. Mappa's take on Dorohedoro looks amazing as of now, and I can't wait for the anime to come out. Third on our list is Pluto. First announced back in 2017 and written by the legendary Naoki Urasawa, Pluto's an adaptation of a manga based on an Astro Boy arc. It revolves around Gaysicht, a detective who investigates the death of Swiss robot Mont Blanc. In his investigation, he comes to know of an entity called Pluto, as well as a plot to destroy the great robots of the world, the advanced robots who have the capacity to become weapons of mass destruction. With the delicate balance and coexistence between man and machine at stake, Gaysicht moves to prevent the worst from happening. There's no official release date, but with footage already being shown, it shouldn't be too long before Pluto graces our screens. A few months ago, an anime adaptation of the manga Akira was announced. You guys might know Akira as a movie from the 80s. Set in 2019, funnily enough, Akira takes place in Neo-Tokyo, a newly rebuilt city after an explosion lays waste to it over 30 years prior to the story. Neo-Tokyo is also the home of turf wars between rival gangs. Kaneda leads one of them. It's one of the turf wars that Kaneda's best friend Tetsuo finds himself with powers thanks to a chance encounter with an Esper that's escaped confinement. Developing powers of his own, Tetsuo finds himself the target of a government that seeks to contain him. It falls to Kaneda and a group of people to put an end to Tetsuo's rampage. This is a series that I didn't see coming. Then again, with all these recent remakes of classics, I shouldn't be surprised anymore now, should I? Let's wait to see whether this series is more a faithful adaptation of the manga or not. At the summit of the list of top anime in the future is another adaptation of a Korean webtoon. It's not just any webtoon, it's the anime adaptation of Smash Hit Tower of God, one of the most popular webtoons right now. 25th Bam's a boy who spent his life of isolation inside a cave underneath the tower. Chasing his best friend Rachel, Bam enters the tower. He's told that he'll get the answers he seeks should he find his way to the top of the tower right before coming face to face with a deadly test. Grasping onto the possibility of reuniting with Rachel, Bam keeps going, scaling the tower that continues to provide various challenges within each floor. Now, the reason why this tops the list is because I'm a big fan of the series. It's amazing in terms of world building, badass characters, and action. It promises a world of adventure that's made it into one of the best webcomics out there. If this series gets a good adaptation, then I truly believe it would become the next big thing. Just like Noblesse, we don't have the release window or a PV yet. The footage that I'm showing right now is the promotional material for the webtoon and the games. There's nothing better to do than wait for the anime adaptation that will surely show you why Tower of God has endeared itself to the hearts of many fans. So what do you say? Looks like the world of anime still has a lot to offer, even if you're a new watcher entering this coming year. Despite taking the sequels away, 2020 and the years to come are still shaping up to be epic for anime. Will those years be as good as the current years? Only time will tell. Which among these mentioned series are you looking forward to the most? I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you next time on ViniiTube.